Okay, so what we're gonna do today, we're gonna run a bunch, and I mean a bunch of logs. After I build up the fire a little bit. I've been just kind of trying to build up the fire on this real quick. And then I didn't build as much as I thought. I guess I didn't put, enough wood in it to get it to 100%. So, that'll probably be what we have to do here, is just get our fire going. I mean, we're going to be running a bunch. It's probably, I don't know. I'm going to have to run multiple loads and all that. It's just going to be running this train back and forth, getting a bunch of logs out of the way. Because I want to fill up that sawmill as much as I can, to the point where basically the pond is then going to be filled. And then I'll buy some more of these small cars. And then we'll buy some more of these that are the stake flat, and then we should be okay after that. Because I still gotta build to the iron and potentially get all the way out to the smelter too at some point. And I could also probably fill stuff that we produce at the sawmill. We could also go to the coal mine as well. At least with I think it's lumber that it takes. I'm pretty sure. But we could fill the lumber side of that. So that would be done. I mean, I could, do that. I don't know if I want to do that right away. But that would probably be the best option, I think, for right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a bunch of this all the way down there. And I'm going to fill up the fire again, make sure. I mean, it still says, it was in 90s, but might as well stoke it a little bit. Make sure she's getting, good temp now. That's the best way that I found to, get a little bit extra temp out of it sometimes. And we'll go until, we run out of pressure, but I just added a little bit extra because I didn't want to run out of steam, but we might be stuck until it builds pressure. We're pretty close to that. It's just, once that comes up to temp, we should be building, more pressure, which means that I can, proceed down this track. Yeah, as long as it hits 100, then we should be alright. Gotta get that water temp up, and then we should be where we're gonna start remaking steam. We're not gonna make a lot of it at the beginning, but as the fire burns, it should, get hotter. So, I hope that would work, because it's gonna be a long time, I was gonna say, if I have to sit here and wait. But I don't think that, it was that bad at all. I think it, came up pretty fast, actually. So if I have to, I'll minus, or should say monitor. I don't know what the hell I said minus, but who knows. But yeah, well, we're gonna monitor this because I want to make sure that the fire stays up, because I don't really want to have to wait all the time for boiler pressure if I ain't got to. So I'm going to try to monitor it the best I can. I'm not exactly 100% good at doing that. But yeah, I got most of the track built going this way to the sawmill as a little bit past. Just because I was like, okay, I'm going to build a little bit out here. And then that's kind of where there's like a buffer there. So I might have to continue building all the way out. But I gotta get to the coal mine. But I figured if the coal mine's closer for now, then I might load the lumber side of that. And depending on where the smelter is, I might have to either, see if I can get to that location, or if I want to move it, and I'm not sure which way I want to do yet. So we might go up and look at that smelter. I don't know when I'm going to do that yet, but I might end up, if like I say, if I have to move it, I'll have to move it. But I think it would be pretty good to have like 2 of the smelters around. And, if I have to place one, then I'll place a smelter. But if I'm gonna like do something like that, then I might, build a big yard on the other side of that smelter so that you have all your other cars there. Whether you're gonna bring stuff to the smelter or taking stuff from the smelter. All I need is probably about 4 or 5 lanes. That should be about right. So I'm probably gonna end up building that. Just, I don't know when. Like if I have to build, that's how I would build it. Make sure you got 5 to 6 lanes. That should be perfect for what we need. And the only reason I want that many is because you're gonna probably want to have trains there too, so you could build a storage for those too. Build a barn for those. Keep those out of the weather, as best you can. And then I might build what are those called? They're like the garage port kind of style buildings over the top of that track. If we do that, that's how I would do it. Because then, all your cars are protected as best as you can. They won't get water in them. I mean, they're not really going to be protected good, but I mean, it's at least better than nothing, right? So, I mean, if there's a track where I can, when I lay it out, if I have to, that's pretty much what I would do, is pretty much build so that the cars are going to be protected as best as possible. At least from water getting inside them and rusting them out. And also build, a barn for the train as well. Just so that way, everything's put away, elements won't hurt them. So, sounds like a good idea. So that might be what I do. I just don't know if that's something I want to do yet, because I haven't been up there. So I guess I might, maybe after this recording, go up there and look and see if there's what I want to do, or if I want to move it. I don't know. I guess we'll figure that out when we get there. Alright, so we're going to be arriving at the sawmill now. I might have to stop up here because the way I got it is I got a switch that goes to the log on and off load. Almost. It's pretty much the best way to do it. It's like if you're going to do an on load, you could have separate trains do it. That's the way I built it. I built it the best way that I could. I guess the best designed that I could. I built, these 2 bridges going each and every way. And this is just because, we're kind of in a swamp area here. So I just decided that I didn't want to deal with that as much as humanly possible. So I just built bridges. That's what I said, is I built, kind of far out, just on the other side. I didn't actually, give it like any other track going to any industry yet, but I could. But if I have to, if there's an ironworks already placed, then I might hook up to that. And if there's a coal mine there, nearby, then I'll probably hook up to that too. And then we'll probably do a 3-way switch, because we would have to. Because you could have, one switch go to the coal mine, one switch go to the ironworks, and then another switch, continue on. I mean, if that's the way that they were laid out, then I haven't really looked, that far into that, where they were. I just decided to find the sawmill and start loading that full of logs first, rather than, trying to go and do anything else at the moment. I just figured, let's get this thing up and running the best way that we can, and it appears that we did pretty good. I built this just about the same time I was building the other one. So it was just kind of like, well, I could do this one and then do that one, depending on which way I liked, the way I built other stuff. So that's kind of what I did, is I just kind of looked, and it's like, if this worked here, then we could do that, or whatever. So that worked. Okay, so we've got all the way to the sawmill now. The switch was set good and correct, so we're all good on that. And I did build a bridge through here just because, like, the way that I wanted to run it with the dirt it didn't get me high enough off of there so where it wouldn't go right into the unload for the logs. So it just didn't work the way that I thought it was gonna work. So I had to build the bridge backwards on the part that has to go into the pond. So that's one thing I found out that I didn't know, but now know. So pretty much for this, all you gotta do is just, nicely roll it in. I got a buffer on the other side. So basically, it won't go, you won't go all the way off into the water into the nothingness. If I need to extend the bridge, however, I will. I just haven't gotten around to doing that because I figured right now we're only going to be starting with some cars, I bought 2 cars to go with it, so that we have a total of 3. We're only going to have 3 to 4, total cars is what I figured, plus the engine. So, I mean, it's kind of like, I ain't got to worry about it that much, but you see how this is kind of gapped a little bit in between the bridge and the offload. I want to keep calling it onload because the other side. But yeah, the other side took a little bit more trying to figure out the, angles that I needed. This one was pretty easy to run though. So I might end up having to run extra length bridge, but I don't know. See the gap though, so I hope that, because of the way it's gapped, it should be alright. But I don't know. I just decided we're gonna have to load them one, at a time, because as I found out a while ago, if you start, hitting them all at once, it can lead to an issue. But I'm not worried about that issue. It just leads to issues. So I'm unloading them one at a time. And this one, I don't know if I got all the way on there all the way that I was, thinking I was. So I don't know if we got paid for this one or not, though. So we should see if we get paid for this. I mean, I don't know if we did or not. It does not appear that we got paid anything for that. Interesting. So I gotta maybe extend the bridge a little bit. But as you can see, we're almost running out of real estate. Which is a good thing to now know. But I didn't know at the time. So, I mean, maybe next episode we'll start with a little bit. And I do mean a little bit of building, but not a lot. We're just gonna build this bridge out a bit. Check the fire, restoke it. That's about all I'm doing right now. Because I need a heck of a lot more of these loads to make, a decent amount of lumber and beams and whatever has to go to wherever, So, yeah, what I'm going to do next, when we get to the next episode, is I'm probably going to look and see, like, what I got to do with the bridge situation, because I'm probably going to have to go out a little bit longer. Probably about a little bit longer than the Montezuma's, like, total length, just to make sure that I have enough. Because I don't want to run, come in here really, like, speeding at whatever the high speed of this thing is. I think it's like 15 or 16 miles an hour, I don't want to come in speeding and then, have a derailment because I came too, in too fast. Didn't have enough time to hit the brake and slow down, so I think the best way to do that, just to deal with that whole situation, is basically just to, lengthen the bridge, probably, I don't know, 50 to 100 feet, if not more. So that's what I'm thinking. Just just for stopping distance, because I just realized that the Montezuma has no air brakes. So, yeah, that's probably how we're gonna have to handle that, ain't it? Ain't the way I want to do it, but I guess that'd be what we have to do. But yeah, we're gonna basically end up to where the pond's gonna start, retaining logs into it. That's where I want to try to get today, is as many loads as it's gonna take, and I know it's gonna be, I'm just gonna take a guess and say it's probably gonna be an hour to 2 hour long process to get this thing full of logs. I want to get it as full of logs as I possibly can. If I have to run, maybe a couple loads here or there, after this, I don't know. But I'm going to try to get the logging pond full because I want to make sure. Because I'm probably going to be taking a lot of this, at least the beams and the lumber out to the iron mine. And in order to make sure the iron mine has a good supply of, iron for us to take down to the smelter, or up, I don't know, is it down or up? I haven't really looked, like I say, on this map at that too long. I just, found where the sawmill was, and I was like, okay, that's what we're doing. But yeah, that's pretty much the best way, is I'm going to try to get to the iron mine next. Maybe the coal mine as well. I'm going to try to get to those, because that's going to probably be, crucial at some point. And just a simple fact that that's going to be the easiest way to do it. So, hopefully it works out. But I have no idea if it will. Okay, so, we're getting there at least now. I don't know if I'm going to split this up or not. I might have to split it up in, 2 videos. Be loading up the sawmill, or something like that. I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm going to break this up or just do, however long it takes until it's, basically starting to hold logs in the pond. Haven't decided what we're doing yet with that. Maybe we just go until it starts holding logs by itself. I don't know. Sounds reasonable for me to do, but again, it's going to take forever to get done with only 4 cars. Guess I could buy more cars, but I don't know how to load them, because then that means I'd have to make the load at the logging camp bigger. Never really thought about that, because now we gotta go figure out if we can even do that. And I might be able to, I never heard of, making it any longer than it needed to be, but I guess now I kind of got to. Because now I'm realizing if I had, longer, track pieces here and here, then I could probably be alright with it. So that's going to be the best way. I'm just going to extend probably a little bit more on the logging camp side, and then I'll have to come down here and run to the sawmill, and then also do the same thing. So both of those will be getting longer. I guess that's what I'll have to do. It's what I got to do. It's not what I want to do, to be honest, because, I thought it'd be done with building in this map, At least on this stuff, so early, into the game, this section of the new map, and also into this game, I didn't think that I'd have to, build it longer than what I'm used to, because I'm usually used to, the sawmill having, solid ground beneath it, but no, now this time, have to figure out, if we're going to be alright with that. So yeah, we're going to have to expand a little bit into the water, a little bit more. And we'll have to see, what else I can do at the logging camp as well. Because if I was going to build, I'm going to build maybe a storage yard up there too, just for the log cars. I figure, we're going to have storage too. Probably for a train maybe up there too. I don't know if we're gonna store the Montezuma up there or whatever, but I mean, we could do either or. It's fine. It's just never thought I'd have to, build things in a different way than I'm used to. But if I do move the smelter, I will definitely say in the next episode, because I think the way I'm gonna do it is we're gonna go next time, to build and all that. Well, let's figure out if I gotta move the smelter too. I guess is another way, or put down a different, smelter for now until we can get a train that could, run up there. That might be a better option for us. Like, we would build to it like we normally would, but we wouldn't run it because, we don't know if the Montezuma would make it there. And if the Montezuma won't make it there, there's no really sense of trying to run it if we can't, So that's just kind of like where I'm at, If we're going to have to, that'd be about the only thing that I move. I'd have to see also where the iron mine is, because we might have to move that if I can't get a train that's powerful enough to, go wherever it is. If it's, down or up, it doesn't matter. We just got to figure out a way to get to it next, So that might be what we have to do. I'm not saying that that's what we're going to do, but it just might be something that I do next episode. So if I got to, move that, then I'll obviously just build some of that track off camera, because you've all seen me build, so I figured there's no sense in making y'all watch me build again. So I mean, we might start with a little bit of building next time, but not to the extent where we're building full tracks again, because that was a heck of a lot of building. So I'm going to try not to make that happen. Other than that, there's not much, different from next time. I might look off camera and then decide what we're going to do if we have to move the smelter and all that. I will do that probably off camera, just because I want to see, what we got to do for that. And then we got to see what we got to do for get more logs down to the sawmill too. So like I say, it's just a lot to figure out, off camera. So I figure I'll do that, stuff off camera. So because it's a lot, it is a lot to do, So I mean, I don't know what we're gonna, start with next episode though. I keep calling it episodes, next time. I don't know. Been watching a lot of TV, that's probably why. They're like, oh, well, let's rebuild this house, and then it's like, next time on next episode, type of thing. Get stuck in your brain. But yeah, I think that's probably what we'll do, is we'll start with, just building some of that, maybe. Because I'm not going to show, like, rebuilding everything. Because that would take, like, forever. So yeah, we'll have to see, because I think I'm going to end up having to, like, extend the logging one out, and maybe the core wood, depending on where the smelter is, because I might have to extend that too to get more cars in here. So that's kind of what I'm hoping, like, we can get all this figured out. And it's a lot left to figure out on my part, so yeah, we'll get it figured out. It's just gonna take us forever, but it's how we go. It's just, I figured since we're gonna be running, I might as well say what we're gonna do, next, so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, it's just, that's what I'm thinking, to be honest, is if we're gonna move a lot of, sawmill products, I mean, I might as well see what we can do. If I gotta move, this or that, figure that out, and then just build to it off camera, and then that should be good. Just know that's gonna take me forever. But I hope eventually we can also build. I think off this core wood line we might build a storage, like I was saying earlier, just have like you know, where we could store the cordwood cars and the logging cars and a train. That's about all you need, really. And we might even put a turntable in here, just because, you know, if you want to change the way that you are, like say you're pulling them instead of pushing them, then you could, you know, change them. You know, your orientation of which way you are in the train, I guess. Whether you want to push with the front or, you know, pull. So it's kind of like whatever you want to do. But that'd be it. That's really all I would add. And then just add, like, you know, the depot for firewood. And then, depending whether we're going to have, you know, I think we're going to be running any coal trains down here, then I might have to place, like, a coaling tower. And then, you know, make all that work. So, yeah, it's still yet to see if that's what we're going to do at some point. But I hope we can get this all figured out to where I won't have, you know, a massive headache later, like, oh, well, I need coal, but I got no coal here, you know? So, we'll figure it out. It's just going to take us time. Okay, so we have got it all in place here. It shouldn't take us too long to figure out how many more log loads it's going to take, but I do got to write down how many that I've taken so far. Because I do that, so I wrote down, you know, how much we took, how many logs we took for each car, and how much we got, you know, in exchange for that. You know, I do write down everything. I figured I might as well make this game a little bit interesting, right? So I've made, like, logs, at least that I use, you know. So I write down every, you know, train that I've ran, every piece of lumber or oil barrels, all the way up to, you know, oil barrels and all the other stuff. I keep records of that, at least for, you know, every map that I, you know, do. Because it's then just easier, then I can go, oh, well, see, I ran this, and this is where it's at, so this is how much I have moved, this is how much I got, you know, that I could move to there, you know, to make it full. That's just why I do it that way. It just makes more sense, and it's kind of easier for me to make sure that we have all the supplies that we could ever need. And I've never ran into a problem doing it that way. So that might be what we do. You know, just depending on, like, if that's what we're gonna continue doing it that way. I don't know, but I'm kind of like doing it for now. I mean, there are times where I was like, oh, well, man, I gotta log this and log that. But, you know, if I do like a mixed train, then I log every individual car on that train, what they were holding, what capacity they had. And then, like, when we finish, then I put, you know, that the job was complete, everything awful, you know, everything's empty, basically. So that, you know, it's good for, you know, next time. So, like, let's say you don't play it, but, you know, you come back to it, like, you don't play it, like, 1 week, then you come back to it the next week. It's easier than just to go, okay, well, this is what I had, you know. So it's kind of interesting to do it that way. I don't know of many people that do that. You know, I mean, I do it, but I mean, I don't know many people that do it in that fashion, that write down what car, how many cars you got, what you had. You know, I kind of do it that way. I kind of find it fun. And it's just for my own record anyway. But the way I was figuring, you know, even if it's just for my own record, you know, it doesn't really matter. But I do like to make sure that it's accurate. Because, you know, then I can go, oh, well, this train and this one, you know, have this sitting on it, you know. So, I mean, it's just a good way to keep track of things. It's just, like, I don't know if people ever thought about doing that. But it's just an interesting part of the game that I could do. I almost kind of wish that, like, they had, like, a script, you know, for that. Like, if somebody made a script, I don't know if anybody has. So, like, where it would just, you know, tell you, okay, this train right here has this on it right now, ready to go, you know? And then you would just, continue that or whatever. I don't know if anybody does that. At least in this game. But if they did, that would be pretty interesting. So, let's see. Don't know what else we got to load today. Besides, logs, but... yeah. I did some of it off camera. I didn't do a whole... I mean, there's more that I did, now. But there is, more that I have ran. But I just... at that point, so I ran some of them off camera. I just figured, I'm not gonna run every single run, but I ran a couple off camera. So, I mean, kind of what I wanted to do, just, be like, hey, this is good, that's good. So, I hope this all works. So, we got another load to go pick up. And I mean, yeah, I've been running a few here and here off camera because I figured nobody wants to sit here and look at me run this train forever. So I figured, I'd run some of them off camera just so that nobody has to watch it. But, we're going to run a few more. We're going to get this, thing. And all those logs in there will probably get used up because the sawmill's not exactly, all the way full. And the reason that it's retaining some of them is, I think, is because here in a little bit, I'm going to actually probably end up buying a couple of them flat stake cars, and then we'll end up, probably having a whole bunch of that. But I'll probably run some of that off camera. Because I still got to build a lot of track to get to there. And I don't want to have, like, 3 times in a row that we're building a lot of tracks, so I'll probably do that off camera because I'm going to just try to build to, the coal mine where I know I could take, a lot of stuff to, and also the iron mine. I want to get both of those up and running as soon as possible. And why do I want to get them both up and running as soon as possible? Because if I can get both of them up and running, right? So basically you have the iron mine running, you'll have the coal mine that will still need stuff to get supplied, and then you just got to hook up to the smelter, or if I'm going to move the smelter, I don't know. I might make like another smelter if I have to, and that would just be because, I know the Montezuma ain't going to make it up what I would have to get, depending on where the smelter is. Like I'm saying, if I gotta make a 10% like piece of track, it's not gonna probably make it. And I would have to wait until we get, a more powerful engine because, I don't want to try to, make the Montezuma do something that we know it probably will not do. And so I think to counteract doing that, we're just gonna have to make it, to where if it needs to be moved, then I'm going to do that off camera because it's going to entail me making a lot of changes. And then I have to draw it all on a map too, so it's kind of like you got to do both, So yeah, it does take a while for me to figure out if I want to move something, so like I'll definitely try it with a piece of track. If I don't like it, then I guess we'll just have to move it. That could be another option too, I guess. So that's how I'm going to do it. So I mean, that's going to be fine. It's just going to take me a little bit of time to figure out what we're going to do. If that's something worth doing, and because then I'm going to have to build a track for the smelter because you got core wood you got to deliver, and you got, iron you also have to deliver. So you're basically going to have to figure out if both of those, if that's worth doing, because you're going to have a switch Or you could use a three-way switch too, I guess, in a sense, because depending on how long you would need, because you're only going to have ever X amount of iron cars. If I have to build the track longer, I can build it longer or, change it. But then the other thing is that you're going to need to get to the other side too to load up on, the rails and the raw iron. But there is a spot in mind that would look pretty good if I had to move it. I have a spot in mind, so if I have to move it, I'm moving it to that spot. No questions asked. Like, I know the Montezuma can't do 10% very well. I mean, I know it can handle, certain percentages, but it's the fact of how I'm going to have to get there is, worth the time, I guess. So, I don't know what the best option is. So, I guess we'll see. Best option might be, move it for now until we can get enough money to get a different train, If that is something I have to do, that is something I will do, but it's not something I'm going to be happy about. So, just have to wait and see. I'm pretty sure that's pretty much what we'll do. Just make it easier on ourselves. Because, I mean, why make things harder if you don't have to? So, we're going to continue to fill up this pond. Make sure she's all good and full. And then, I'm probably going to run some loads, like, off camera, at least to the iron mine, because I think I got to move it, depending if I've seen a picture of the map, the way it is now, where they're placed, so if I saw that correctly, then yes, I'm gonna have to move it. And it's just for the simple fact of this train cannot get enough speed to get up the hill. Because I think it's down in a valley, and the way I would have to build there, I would have to, like, make custom track, kind of, almost, in a way. It's not really worth it, I don't feel. So I think what I'll do, will not focus on trying to get all that built today, all the way there. But if I have to, that'd be something I'd check out before, next time. And then I'll be good to go for, everybody's sake. I won't, probably show me building much of that track because, I don't know, we built enough, so yeah, I'll do that off camera. So, well, I think because I'm gonna maybe, just maybe, record them. But if I don't, then it's whatever, obviously. But that's fine with me. But I will see you all next time.